All right, today we're learning a halacha which is came from a practical shaila. A lot of people now sending people to do tevilas keilim. They're going themselves. The shaila was somebody did it already. Then they asked the shaila afterwards. Could you send somebody to toivel your keilim? Is not shomer Torah mitzvahs. It's not shomer Torah. Could you send him to do your tevilas keilim? So after he did it, he asked me. I told him you have to toivel das keilim. Then he asked someone else, and he told him no, it's kosher. He told him. So I'm going to read you. And where he came from, the person says you could soymach anis tevilas keilim. It says in Siman Yeredeh Kuf Yutes. Kuf Chof. Kuf Chof Halacha Tesvav. The Mechaber bring like this: Im hidvil keilim aledei oivet kechovim. If you did your tevilas keilim through a nochri, also learn tvila. The Mechaber says it's a kosher tvila. So that was his raya. So if you already sent somebody, he's not shomer Torah mitzvos. He's not any worse than a nochri. If the nochri will take your keilim today, it says clearly also lam tevilas, so it's kosher. I'll tell you, it's not so fast. It's Lamaisa. It's not kosher. But the Mechaber says yes, so we're going to see what the pshat of it. The Ramo comes and he says, "Aval ena ne'eman ala tvila." What's the pshat? Ramo is cholek on the Mechaber, so you should say not that ena ne'eman ala tvila, also la tvila, ena ne'eman ala tvila. Also, the lotion of the Mechaber, it's also not understood. It says im hitvil keilim aledei ovet kechovim. Why can't you say straight? Ovet kechovim tov al keilim, also lam tvila. What means keilim aledei ovet kechovim? One halacha before that will help us to understand this halacha. Halacha Yudalet. En ma'aminim koton al tvilas keilim. You don't trust a child below bar mitzvah al tvilas keilim. The Rama says aval im tovul lifnei godol have a tvila. If they did. So with the whole halacha over here, whoever quotes that, that's why it's another example how you cannot learn halacha from kitzurim and paskin. You have to go to the origin of the halacha, see where it's coming from, the two of the Messiahs of the Gemara, understand what they're talking about. Then you see it's not bichlal what somebody on the surface could make a mistake over here. We're not talking about over here if a nochri or a cotton could make tevilas keilim on their own by themselves. L'kula alma, they cannot do this. If they did it, you have to toivel it. Because what they're talking about over here, there's a shaila when you need kavona letvila. There's a shaila in the Gemara. If Nida goes to mikveh, if she needs kavona, you wash your hands for a moitzi, you need kavona. For example, if tvilas keilim needs kavona or not, like for example, you're going through a mikveh and your keilim that need tvila fell over there. You didn't mean to do tvila. They fell into the mikveh. Do you have to do another tvila with kavona, or that's the ma'isa tvila also like? This is what if you look the origin of this halacha in the two. The two doesn't talk about the Beis Yosef. He brings over there this halacha from Rashba and Ramban, and I'm going to read it only the Darche Moshe. He summarized this memela. You could see what I'm talking about. It's like this. Ubetshuvas Rashba, the mutar litval kelim the goy v'chen kazo Beis Yosef b'shem tshuvas Ramban v'nira the laodif mikotan. The Darche Moshe, the Ramah says the pshat in the Beis Yosef. It's not any better than the cotton. The lameman alerak im Yisrael ro shetovlon hagoy also la tvila. Only if a Jew watching him. So what's the chiddush of the Rashba of the Ramban? That does not need kavona, even though the goy has no kavona. It doesn't do Hashem taras keilim, or whether he has kavona, does lo ma'ila v'lo moiri. It's not nuchlim b'mitzvahs. Sending a cotton, his kavona does not help anything. Tells you over here that the tvilas keilim doesn't need kavanah, and the Ramah is not choylek on him. That's why he says, "Aval enon ne'eman ala tvila." You cannot trust him; he did the right tvila. So what the pshat? If you toivel is good, meaning if you're watching him, he's with you, you can do it, and it's clearly also by the Taz. The Taz summarizes his whole shita, and he says, "But he asks a different question about tvila." He says the Taz, the Taz know that what the Darche Moshe brought, that you're watching him, but how could you say bracha on it? Al tvilas keilim and his asiyah and his pula. You say bracha on something, you do it yourself. Al ken. And roi lasas ken lechatchila. That lechatchila, the bracha is not ma'akev, but it's a very recommended. We learn already of the salachas. B'chlal, all the mitzvahs, when you say don't think bracha is not ma'akev, Memela, I could skip the bracha, or no, the poskim recommend whenever you take keilim that they're questionable for tefillas keilim and they don't need bracha, you should take it with something else that needs bracha. Bracha is very important, al pi nigla and al pi kabbalah, because the union of asiyas mitzvahs is like a kli. The bracha is like the oil goes in that kli. The kavanah is the oil. The meilam, it's very important. You're doing a mitzvah, do with the bracha. You mamshich big oiras into that keilim, into the mitzvah. So the meilam says, how could you tell a nochri to make your tefillas keilim? You cannot make bracha on it. It says al ken and was regular keilim shemochi kosav shchanor kaloshen di'eved im hidbil keilim al yedei oivet kachovim. Meaning You're watching him, and he did it, but the evet also like lechatchila don't do that because of the brachim. Aval in Israel madil gamken as a kli. You with him in the mikveh keilim. You also think he's helping you. He says, "Bois a shov el hashav kcholim asayel labil shar keilim." He says the koya bracha al mashayso. If the best thing to do such a scenario, you need lots of help. You take a nochri to help you do the tevilas keilim. You do the bracha. You also do some of the ma'isa mitzvah, and he's going to continue. But you're watching him. Make sure the tevilah is done right. There's a lot of details on tevilah. If he didn't do the right, so the whole tevilah wasn't tevilah. Even ma'isa tevilah was not there. So the word poshut, and I'll tell you that's so poshut. I'm not sure why the person that says it's kosher, but the Evan said it because the levush summarized this halacha bekitzur. He writes like this. וכן אם יטביל כלים על ידי גוי, also להם טבילה אם ראו שטוב להם. אבל אין נאמן על הטבילה. You take the both shittas, the Shulchan Aruch, and you take the shitta of the Ramah, which is one shitta. He says, yeah, the Maisa Tvila, it's kosher, but we have to see it. But you cannot trust him, he did the right Tvila. There's a lot of details. If he doesn't care for the mitzvahs, I'm going to talk about it in a minute, then he won't do it right. You can't trust him. Something got caught, and you cannot trust him, they do it right. Now, so that's Dover Poshet who, like Lekula Alma, sending a goy to make tevilas keilim, or somebody not showing the Torah mitzvahs. Somebody might argue, and that's one of the svaras. Somebody told me, oh, maybe you makarev him through this. No. You could makarev him different ways. You don't tell him to do mitzvahs when he cannot do the mitzvahs right. There's many right way to makarev, not through this. Okay, here's the Gabe Inyan of if you could trust somebody, how you will relate to somebody not showing the Torah mitzvahs versus to a goy. So I'll tell you. The in Simon Kuf Yutes in Yeridei Halacha Yutes. Oimer lemishu choshed leechel gvina shel oivdei kechavim. Meaning, basically, somebody not careful with Chalav Yisrael, and he's eating gvinas akum, a gvina that was made by a goy. He says, and he told him, the balabos told this man that he doesn't care for Chalav Yisrael. Kneli gvina ksherim in amumcha. Go get me a kosher. We're not talking about today that you have all package and says on it what it is. Those days you went to a store, you bought a piece of cheese. You brought home, and there was no packaging on it. So he told him, go get me a cheese. The heavy loid, this person that the shliach was somebody who doesn't care for Chalav Yisrael. He eats himself Chalav akum, and he brought it to him. He said, I bought him somebody that sells kosher, mumche. He says, we don't trust him. He says, I bought it from Yankele, this Yankele, then the shach, the post can bring it, then you would trust you because he's afraid you can ask Yankele, there was never by me to do, what are you talking about? Then, but you see from here clearly that somebody himself not careful with certain mitzvah, you cannot trust him to do this mitzvah for you. You cannot. I was one time, remember, in Florida in a hotel, and those days there was this Crown Hotel, was a kosher hotel then. Now they sold it already many years ago. Anyway, the mashgiach over there, I knew him, and I knew he didn't care for Chalav Yisrael. He was the mashgiach, so he was the one to be in charge to buy Chalav Yisrael milk for the place. Al pi halacha, he was not kosher to do that. Al pi halacha, because if he doesn't care for it, you don't trust him. Oh, okay, you could say it's like he told me mokum ploini, you have to go show to somebody. But if they're all over there don't care for Chalav Yisrael, it's very easy possible if he's desperate and he needs the milk, he's going to go get any milk just to give him milk for people to drink their coffee with. So, b'derech klal, when you trust somebody that he's careful with that mitzvah, you trust him. If not, you're not. Then he says furthermore, the shach says even then when we believe somebody that the Shach says it's only shayach by the inyonim derabanan, like gvinas akum. You're not the Raisa, you don't trust him at all. You're not the Raisa, you don't trust him to say I bought it from a mumche. Anyway, but that's not the punchline of it. It's further more in Kuf Yud Ches, and Halacha Aleph. The Ramah brings like this. When over there they talk about certain things you need two seals to know. Let's say you get a meat. How the guy brought you a meat? How do you know if there's kosher? You need two seals on it. You need something plastic, something else wrapped on it. You need a salad that they cannot messiah. He cannot sell you something else. So the halacha of two simonim over there. The Ramos says, "Yesh omrim the lobayin beis choysomois, yeah, rak beYisrael choshud." Aval beoivet kechovim hakol shorei al yedei choysom echad. That's the opinion of the Rabbeinu Tam. According to the Rabbeinu Tam, somebody not showing the Torah or mitzvahs, it's choshu to eat treifes, it's choshu to do things not according to Shulchan Aruch. He's worse than a goy. By a goy, you according to Rabbeinu Tam, it's not everybody masking with him. A goy you could trust with one signature, with one simon. A yid you need two simonim. So according to this, to send somebody to do your tevilas keilim, if he's not showing the Torah mitzvahs, you cannot trust him. The details he did right. But if he did it, you cannot trust him. He's al pi halacha. Mimela, those keilim have to be re-toivel without the bracha, because maybe he did it right way without the bracha, but you have to toivel them. So again, so what the Shulchan Aruch says, hidbel kelim al yedei goy. Hey, it's b'di evet. like the Taz said. B, you have to see it. L'kul alma, the Aruch HaShulchan, everybody. It's the only discussion over there if it needs kavanah. Even over there, the Bach says he disagrees with the Shulchan Aruch. The tevilas keilim also need kavanah. Even you're watching him, you cannot do it. So I'm not talking about the shita of the Bach. Even you make it like the mechaber, the only heter you have to send a nochri or not shomer to do your tevilas keilim when you are watching him. If you don't watch him, the tevilas keilim is not tevilas keilim. The mele I would say ritoyvelet without the bracha.